Hi and welcome to this week's edition of Bitrix24 Live. My name is Andy and I am the support manager at Intraface. Intraface are gold partners of Bitrix24 and we are located in the US, in the UK and in the UAE. And we offer a full range of different services from pre-sale support. So if you're looking to buy Bitrix and you want to find out if it's a good fit for your organisation, then we can certainly assist with that and answer any questions that you may have, whether that's on a live online session, at your office, or over the telephone. We can answer any questions you may have. We also offer licensing. We offer implementation and installation. So if you're looking at implementing Bitrix, if you have it already, we can certainly assist with the best practices of implementing Bitrix into any sized organisation. And we also offer installation services. So if you're looking at the on-premise version or the enterprise version of Bitrix, then we have the in-house engineers to install Bitrix on a server in-house or a virtual server. So if you're looking at something like AWS on Amazon or Google Compute Engine, then we have the skills and experience of installing Bitrix onto one of those kinds of servers. We also offer hosting services. If you do want a partner to host the on-premise, we offer our hosting services in a whole range of different packages. And then finally, we offer premium support. So we offer ticketing, chat, and telephone support should you have any questions or queries at any point with regards to Bitrix24. So for those of you that are relatively new to Bitrix24 Live, we're here every week at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and essentially it's an hour of free support. So please get your questions in on YouTube and I can answer them as we go along. Just like every week, we do have questions that come in throughout the week. And if you do have questions that come to you, please do send them to us to sales@intraface.com, and we can start each session off with those particular questions. So as every week, we do have some questions that have come in. I will go through them, but please do keep the questions coming on YouTube, and I will continue as long as I have enough questions to answer. I can answer these questions on the cloud version of Bitrix, so whether you're using a free version all the way through to a professional version of the cloud system, and we also offer the on-premise solution here as well. So I have the on-premise solution on here, and so any questions that you may have, I can answer them on either system. So the first question that came in, we had somebody that was struggling with some of the automation that is in place. And basically what they wanted to do was to complete a task. And once that task had been completed, then only would it flow on to send the email. So it's quite common. We've done this before, I do believe, but let's go into the CRM and let's just check out what they mean. So whether you're in a lead, whether you're in a deal, what you can do is you can set up your automation rules. So if I click into automation rules here, then what we can do is let's click on to configure automation rules to have a look. And what we want to do is we want to add a task, and we want to add that task and pause the process whilst that task is being worked on. And only when that task is completed would it then continue and send an email out in this person's case. So it's quite easy to do this. You do need a commercial package for this, just to be aware, because you do need the Edit in Workflow Designer option. So if we click into Edit in Workflow Designer here, then you can see we already had a schedule a call block in. But what we could do is we could add a task, let's just say at the top here. And then all you need to locate is this pause process whilst the task is running. If you click on yes, then what it will necessarily do is the lead will hit that particular stage. It will create this task. As long as this is set to yes, the process will stop at this particular task. Only when it has been completed will it then continue, and in this case, in the screen behind, it will create a call. So if I just say test, let's just set a user on here, and another one, just so I can show you. And we can set all these other options in here. Click on save. So all that's going to do is the lead hits that particular status, creates a task. It will stop there in the process, and only when that task has been completed will it then continue and schedule a call. Once you're happy with that, click save, and then there you have it. It's as simple as that. So you just need to pause the process whilst the task is running. So hopefully that helps someone. As I mentioned, you do need one of the commercial packages for that, because you can edit in the Workflow Designer. So the next question, and it's not really essentially a question, it was just some people were interested in the new robotic process automation. And internally at Interface we have weekly sessions in our office to recap all the latest developments in Bitrix and any new releases. We have a training session for all of our team, and to this week's session was to have a look at the robotic process automation. So the robotic process automation is very similar to two parts of Bitrix. It's very similar to workflows, and it's very similar to lists, for those of you that are familiar with those two aspects. But what robotic process automation allows you to do, it's a much simpler way to create a workflow. And these robotic process automations are perfect for your company processes. So things like, I've got a business trip up here. So things like requesting a business trip. Every user would need to fill out a form which you can create in this particular area. And then once that form has been submitted, we then follow a series of stages that goes through things such as the business trip approval, where they're going, what dates have been submitted. It will be approved by their supervisor, and then it will be approved. And then if I just click into here just to show you what I'm referring to, is if I look at this particular process that we've built, is I have a new form that I click to create. So I click on new here. This is our customized form. So I could press, we're going to London, and we're going to have a start date of the 22nd, and we're going to have an end date of the 26th. And what we're going to do is we're going to visit one of our clients. So we're going to say in here, we're going to visit Cisco Systems. Now once I press save, that will automatically move from the new trip request into approval by supervisor. So it will look in the business, it will look in the company structure, look who my supervisor is, and then it will request them to approve it. Now, one of the good things that the robotic process automation has is a much more user-friendly interface. So again, if you've been using the lists, it was a little bit outdated, but now with these tools and these cards, it is much more of the UI that Bitrix uses in terms of the CRM and in the tasks. So if I click on this particular card, you can see in here what's been requested. So you can see on the left hand side, pretty much like in the CRM, we have all the static information. But on the right hand side, we can actually see the journey that this has been through and any of the history. And furthermore, you can comment on this. So we could say, I can tag David in, for example. David, I can tag David in, please. Can you get moving approving this? Click on submit. David will then get a notification in here. So you can start building up communications in this particular area of the robotic process automation. So I have not logged in as David, so I can't approve this. You can see that currently that the task is being sat with David on here, so I can't access that. David would need to approve. Once David does approve, then it would go into submit expenses after trip. And let's just have a look at some of the automation that we have in place here. So if you're familiar with the automation that's in the CRM, and if you're familiar with the automation that is in the tasks, then you'll find this really useful. The difference with the robotic process automation is that you have a couple of additional blocks that allow you to approve. So if I look into this one, for example, here, click on add and for employee, you'll be able to see the approve or decline option, which is not being previously available in the tasks, for example. So this is where these company processes really do take off, because if I click on these, you can see it's all the new interface on here, and we can see all the fields that we want to show. We can hide the fields we want to show on the approval. So if we look at the one that we've done, then ours gets sent to David Brown. Anybody listed, so I could list multiple in here. Once it's been approved, it goes to submit expenses after trip stage. If it gets declined, it gets sent to trip declined. So it's the new generation in Bitrix of company processes. Think of things like the leave approval, business trips like we've got, expense requests. All these different things need to go to individuals inside Bitrix. Not just that, you might have event steps to set up an event. You might have, there's all sorts of things that you could use for this. But it's very simple and very easy to create. Bitrix have put the emphasis on the ease of the creation of these processes a lot more than what was in workflows. And that's the reason for doing it. Workflows did have, and it still does, has the business process editor tool, which is the big page where you can see all the different action blocks, whereas the robotic process automation gives you just simple automation rules to go through a series of different stages. So again, you can pretty much like the setting up the CRM in the leads and the deals, you can set this up now inside robotic process automation. So hopefully this will be useful to a lot of people. It is still in beta, so it's still going to have development tweaks. There might be a few minor bugs in here, but it is a great tool. So I'm new to Bitrix24, evaluating the free offering. I'm in the UK, but my account is .com. What are the advantages of using the EU site? What are the GDPR issues for UK using .com? It's a good question. I do believe they explain it on the Bitrix24 website. I can send you a link out, Ray, maybe after the session. to that article. I think what Bitrix generally do is they try and house the. If you go for .eu, they will try and house the data center, the closest data center to yourself, which Bitrix, I still believe they do host on their cloud systems on Amazon, and therefore the data center will be London if you are in the UK. If you've got an EU, for a .com, I would have to double check because it's a little bit different. It might house your data in a US, but I do believe Bitrix try and get the nearest data center to yourself. But yeah, they do explain it a little bit in more detail on their site. So maybe Ray, I have to send you some details after this particular session. Our contact details. I put our contact details up on the screen throughout this particular session. Got a question. Can I link a Bitrix24 form to lists and not the CRM? So I would like to capture employee feedback in a list which is not linked to CRM leads, CRM deals. So I guess if you, I absolutely know what you mean. Bitrix has lists. Maybe this might be useful for you, this robotic process automation. That would be a great way, because on each one of these, not only does it have the Kanban view, but it does have the list view as well. So this might be something that's pretty useful to you, because the forms in the original lists aren't up to date as such as in the UI like they are in this robotic process automation. The other option is you can always create HTML forms. So if you create HTML forms, you can use the API to post into lists, and you can post using the webhooks. So that's a good way of posting into Bitrix into a list, because you can style up and design your own forms. So that would be a good option. The other option is if you did want to, I think I've done this before, it's a little bit of a hack as such. You can create a CRM form, you can post it to create a new lead, you can check in the automation where that new lead has come from, so it would come from your CRM form. And if it's come from that particular form, you can add a new list item using the automation tools. So you would essentially do something similar to this. So you would click on automation rules here in the lead, click on add for employee and create list item. And then in here you would have the condition to say the lead name equaled, and then whatever your form name is going to be. So just copy, submit one CRM form in as example, and you'll get the CRM lead name, and then just paste it into here. So this would be CRM form name. Obviously it would be called whatever the form is called. So this condition would only then run, this create list item would only run, and we could add an expense, and then we could add everything in the expenses here. And we could use the information that's been submitted from the CRM form. It is quite a good hack, because what you can do then after you've done it is, let me just fill in the name. Click on save. And then what we can do is do exactly what we did. So for employee and delete CRM record. And then a condition again would be this, the lead name is equal to CRM form name in here. So we could just put whatever it was called, form name. And then we would run it after the previous. So essentially what would happen is it would check the condition, create the list item with all the information that's been submitted on the CRM form, and then delete the lead. It would literally be on your system for around about 2 seconds. So if and that, only do that obviously if you really want to use the CRM form to create a list item. But it's quite easy and quite simple doing it that way. How can I extract finance data to feed into my GL? So the only way of extracting data, really, I mean, if you've got the on-prem version, which I know you're evaluating the free version at the moment, there isn't any way to export invoices at the moment in terms of clicking on invoices, clicking on the gear icon. Oh, there is. It's now appeared. So to tell a lie. This wasn't here recently. So exporting invoices to Excel, exporting invoices to CSV. So if you can get that, if that data is good for you to export, then you can get it feed it into your other system. That's really good for the invoices. Let me just check if it's quotes is there as well. Yeah, so we can export quotes to CSV and Excel. So it all depends on where your financial information is kept. If you're using the quotes in Bitrix, that's perfect. Invoices, perfect. There are some applications as well. So if you do have one of the UK payment financial applications, so something like, if we go to the applications in here and then have a look at the category in the application store, I think if we have a look, let me just double check. I'm not sure what category it will come under, so let me just double check in the CRM in here. So QuickBooks, there we go. So QuickBooks is a popular one I know in the UK. There is Zendesk, there is Zero Connector. So have a look if your financial package is in one of these applications. The majority of them are free, so it is worth checking out to see if any one of these works in yours. Because these hook up, they ask you to connect to your financial package usually through the API, but it's a very simple, straightforward form filling exercise to connect some of these applications. So it's recommended to go about having a look here first. If a CSV export is good, then you're good to go. So let me just put our contact details up there. We have quite a lot of new people come to Bitrix24 every week, and they do get in touch with us during the week with the questions. All these sessions are recorded, so if you don't manage to watch a session that you've asked a question with regards to, then you can always check back on the Bitrix24 YouTube channel, and it will be live. It will be available, to watch over again. So those are our contact details. Please do send your questions in through the week to us. So let's see if we've got any other questions. We did have a question that came through, I'm not sure if you're watching today. We did have a question that came through, and it was quite complicated in terms of understanding your requirements. It might be that I'll drop you an email back. It was just with regards to deals that are paid with Bambora and automated to be moved to another pipeline. I think I need to just discuss with you a little bit about that, because I couldn't follow what you were trying to do. So my apologies for that. I was provided with it this morning to answer, but I tried to get an understanding of it and I couldn't quite follow what you were after. For those of you, it's on a similar context to what the question was with regards to, it was deals in Bitrix are generally used for your sales. Well, they are used for your sales aspect of your business. So whether you sell a product or whether you sell a service, then really you should be using deals to refine your sales process. So within deals as well, what you can also do is have pipelines. And the purpose for deal pipelines is to really segment your opportunities into the relevant categories, because you might have 2 or 3 services, you might have 10 services, and they might all follow different sales paths. For example, you might be selling health insurance, and dental insurance might have a different sales process to other medical insurance. So you could have 2 different pipelines to create a sales funnel for each one of those types of insurances. That's one. We also deal with quite a few people who sell houses, so real estate, and they have a rental market, and they also have a sales market, maybe leasing market. So what they would do is create a rental pipeline and create a sales pipeline. And it allows you to really refine the sales process for your rental pipeline if you are renting property. And it will also refine your sales process for people purchasing a property. And you could even do another pipeline for people selling a property. So all those different categories. And that's what Bitrix is really good at. If you want to create a new pipeline, then you just can go into your drop down up at the top here, click on Sales Funnels and Tunnels, and you can add a new pipeline. So you can see here, add sales funnel. And what that will do is it will add it here. So we can say, let's just call it rental. And then in here, we can rename stages. So you might have a particular path that you need to follow to ensure that you are onboarding a client for renting a property. You just rename these stages. You can delete them, click on the pencil and click on the cross if you want. You can make them different colours and so on and so forth. So you can tailor your sales pipeline for rentals. The same if you were to do buying properties, selling properties, you would have your different pipelines for those. That is very common, and I've seen it on quite a number of our clients and quite a number of training sessions that I've carried out. And it really does allow you to tailor that particular process. So one of the other benefits of having pipelines is that you can pass opportunities from one pipeline to another. And a good example of that, I'm just trying to give examples for those of you that might find it useful, is that we have pipelines for sales, and then once somebody purchases, they will always go to the deal 1 stage. And then after that, what they can do is they can go to an after sales pipeline. So it might be that we have, you can see here, we have Bitrix24 after sales. So we have it on-premise opportunities, closed 1, and then we can move it once it's been won to the Bitrix24 after sales. And then we follow the stages of that after sales process. So it and the automation involved in this. So if I was to click out of here and then go into our after sales pipeline, what this allows you to do without having to think about it is to send out and drip feed content to thank them. So it might be that they purchase something, purchase a service or purchase a product from you. Once that deal has been won, it closes, it passes it into this pipeline. And then what we could do if we were to remove this, we could then send a thank you email. So for the client communications, send a thanks. Automatically, we don't have to worry about it. Thanks. We can tailor it, so hello. And then on the right hand side, we can click on here. We can click on the contact that's associated to the deal. Hello, Andy. And we can write whatever we want in here. Then what we could do is in here, we could then change the stage. But we don't want to change it immediately. what we want to do is drip this content to the client maybe every week. So we'll say 7 days. We could even do 7 working days. So in 7 working days, we're then going to move it to the 2-week follow-up. That would make sense, so we'll do it for 14 days because it is a 2-week follow-up. Okay, so in 14 days, we're going to move it to this particular stage here. Then the same again. We're going to this time we might want to send an SMS message out and say, "Hope you're enjoying Bitrix24." And then again, what we could do is add another one for changing a stage, and then another. It's going to be another 2 weeks. So we could then say 2 weeks time. Again, 14 days, or you can do working days, it's completely up to you. And let's move it to the 4-week follow-up. So you can see how then this after-sales pipeline can benefit you, because without you doing anything, you're following up and drip feeding content that your customers are going to find useful on a periodic basis. Everything's going to be automatically set within this particular pipeline. Not only can your emails be HTML templates as well, so you can drip feed that marketing content on this after sales pipeline using HTML content. You can't at the moment use a CRM marketing template. All you would need to do is get the HTML, switch to source code mode and paste it into here, and then that would send out your particularly templated email. So that's quite useful, and especially when you're passing deals from your one pipeline to another and having this after sales pipeline. I think that is really beneficial to a lot of organizations because it's free. It's free information. I've got a little bit of blurred screen apparently. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if the resolution on our system is a little bit low. Try and get that sorted for next time. Apologies for that. You mentioned the on-prem version. Is the free cloud functionality available on-prem? Well, so the free cloud. So I'll just show you actually if you can cover this. So the Bitrix24 website, it has a fantastic breakdown of what's available on the system. So you can see in here we have free, and it tells you what the free system has. Now, Bitrix's fantastic tool, even free, you have so many features that you can use. There are obviously going to be some restrictions in what features that are available to you. For example, you don't have CRM marketing, which you can see here. But as you go along, the more features that you get. The on-premise version is just a bit more expensive. So you can see in here, this is a one-off lifetime cost. And then there is a 25% renewal fee each year of the value of the license. So the on-premise versions have all of the features from Business 50 onwards. The Bitrix24 CRM, there are a few features missing from that in comparison to the Business 50. So Business 50 onwards essentially has every feature with exception of the enterprise. Then you have the ability to create multiple divisions of Bitrix24. So hopefully that explains it. If you ever do wonder what you do get in Bitrix, then this page really does help you out in terms of getting all of the features. Like I say, the free version is fantastic. You have quite a lot of access to most of the tools. Just sometimes, like for example, pipelines, you're restricted to one. You don't have the ability to tunnel, but you do in the CRM Plus, and still that is only $55 a month, or you can get more discount if you pay annually. So just keep your questions coming. Let's have a Let me see if I've got any questions. I'll just put our contact details up there on the screen as well. Got a question that came through from one of our customers just about can you customize the right hand side menu. So the right hand side menu is the menu that's going to have things such as the pulse and the workflows and the my tasks. If you're on the cloud version, then this right hand side is not going to be customizable to much degree. If you're on the on-premise, then absolutely you can customize it. We tend to customize it on the extranet a lot more. So if we go to our extranet here, we have done many projects for a whole range of different clients on our extranets to brand it up. We have made dashboards on the extranet, but this is an on-premise product, so it's fully customizable. And that's another reason why people are tending to use the on-premise to be able to customize the product. Got a question about how can I assign incoming emails to existing tasks or leads. So let's have a look at how Bitrix webmail works. So one of the good things with the webmail is once you connect it up, so I'll just show you the different options of connecting up your email into Bitrix. So you have all of the major mailbox integrations available inside Bitrix, and you essentially just authenticate them. So if you've got Gmail, you can authenticate Gmail very easily and very quickly to set it up. Click on Gmail in here, it will ask you to authenticate. It will ask you if you want to use the external SMTP. We would make sure that you would do that, and with one recommendation. And then you have the option of how you want to integrate it with the CRM. So if you're integrating it with the CRM, then you can get leads into existing contacts. You can get emails into existing contacts. You can get emails into existing leads. If an email exists in your system, when you receive an email from that, then Bitrix will check to see whether it exists in your CRM. If it does, it will take a copy and put it against that particular contact, or if they didn't have a contact and it was a lead instead, it would feed it into the lead. If you then send an email out of your mailbox, again, Bitrix will check to see who you're sending it to, and then it will take a copy of that email and put it against that particular contact's activity stream on there. So it is a really powerful tool. One of the questions the question that came through was just about assigning an email to an existing task. You can't do that at the moment. All you can do with your emails is you can create a new task. So when you get an email into Bitrix, you can create a task directly from that email address. So you do so by just clicking on the lines next to it, clicking on Create Task, and then creating a task from it. I do get a lot of questions just saying, why does it say email on here? Or if you create a task from the CRM, why does it create CRM? If you don't want it, it's not fixed, so you can just delete it and just call the task whatever you would like. You can also use a task template, so you can create tasks using task templates. There are a whole range of things, but this is a good way of delegating tasks that need to be carried out from the emails that you receive. So if anybody's got any other questions about the emails, please do ask. They are pretty straightforward to set up. Once you set up this particular email, like I say, you'll just have these settings. Just all the two that I would just be wary of. If it is your business email, so andy@intraface.com, if it is that email address, I probably wouldn't recommend creating new leads for all incoming emails that you're receiving it from, because you're obviously going to get to your own email, private emails maybe, or marketing emails. You don't want them to be creating leads in your system. It's going to be it's going to end up with your CRM just having quite a lot of junk leads in there. So I'd probably recommend deselecting that. Same with contacts. I am going to email contacts that aren't going to exist in our CRM. I would recommend deselecting that if it's your own personal business email, just because then it allows you more control over the contacts that are being stored in your CRM. So you can create them manually. Obviously, if you've got an email that generates leads, so if you've got sales at interface or hello at interface, that only the emails that are received in there, then you can use that to create the leads. That's absolutely fine. It's completely your preference. I'm just trying to guide you in a way that just reduces the amount of spammy data in the system. So yeah, so they would be my recommendations to deselect those if they are a personal business email address. But if you have a lead generating email, this is a good way. You can connect multiple emails up, it's completely up to you, and you can give access to these mailboxes to whoever you wish. One common question that we get with emails is if you do get an email from an internal employee that's a user on the system, it will not sync into the CRM. Bitrix blocks those emails being synced into the CRM, which is always a question of, like, if you're having internal communications, which are obviously private, you don't want somebody to create a contact with your email address in the CRM, because that's going to pick it up inside Bitrix for your internal communication. So it won't do that. Bitrix recognizes that that's a user on your system, and therefore if a contact has the same email as a user on your system, it will not put the emails into the CRM. Can I set up email with the on-premise edition? I want to bulk send to 100,000 addresses. Yeah, absolutely. So with the on-premise, you do have the option when you install and configure the on-premise system to put an SMTP server on the appliance. So you would enter in your SMTP server details. If you don't have an SMTP server, you don't need to worry either. There are alternatives. So we recommend Mailgun, which is what Google Compute recommend. Mailgun gives you an SMTP server that you can add on, and then that therefore allows you to send out those emails. The good thing with the on-prem version is there's no limitation. It is based on your SMTP server that's sending them out, so it does give you that flexibility to send bulk CRM marketing emails out. You obviously need to have that data. Just remember, if you've got 100,000 contacts in your CRM, that's fantastic. You can start creating mailing lists directly from within Bitrix. So you just go to your CRM, you create a mailing list. If you're interested in creating mailing lists, I can show you the ways that I would recommend. It's completely up to yourself. Just let me know. But once you have that mailing list, we click onto segments, and it would tell you how many recipients that particular segment has got. A segment in Bitrix is a mailing list, and then you would be able to create a campaign and send it out. Now, sending a campaign to 100,000 addresses, it will stagger it. It will not just fire 100,000 emails out within a minute. It will stagger it in blocks of emails to prevent you from negatively scoring a bad spam rate on emails. So it will stagger it. But I'm sure every email client that sends emails out, like MailChimp, Constant Contact, same with Bitrix, it will stagger your emails to be sent out. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see if we've got any more questions. I've got a question. Anybody know how to export tasks from Bitrix to how to export tasks. Exporting tasks is pretty simple, in all honesty. It's fantastic to be able to do it in a work group, and you just do it from here. We can create a filtered list of tasks, click on export list, and there you'll have it. It's the flip reverse. We get a common question about how to import. What I would recommend doing is creating the ideal export that you want. So if we click on the little gear icon, show the columns that we want, click on export, and that will include things like checklists, that will include things like subtasks and head tasks. As long as you've got that export data, it allows you then to have a template to re-import back in. So it's definitely the best way to do it, and that's the way that we would always recommend if you're importing in, not only into tasks, but if you're importing into leads, deals, contacts, companies. You are going to be best to export a copy of the data that you want first. That then provides you with a template to be able to re-import into Bitrix, and it just causes the least amount of issues, and it's quite clear and quite straightforward to be able to do. So you can get your data out of tasks. Yes, people got a couple of queries with regards to that. We had another query about logging into Bitrix and registering Bitrix without an email address. You can register for Bitrix without an email address. You don't need one. You can use one of the social accounts to register. So you can register with Twitter, you can register with Google, Facebook, Office 365. You can also register with your mobile number, so your phone number you can register with. So there are whole different ways of registering with Bitrix. You don't need an email address to register. So hopefully all the options are there when you start to register for Bitrix. You just click on one of the social symbols on there. So please do, got any questions? I've only got 10 minutes left. If you don't have any more, see if I can pull up a couple of other questions. Let me put our contact details on the screen for the moment. Hopefully you've found it useful so far. As I mentioned right at the start, for those of you that missed it, my name's Andy and I'm the support manager here at Intraface. We're actually gold partners of Bitrix24, and Bitrix is all that we focus on, and we focused on for one of the longest periods of time for a partner as well. So we're very experienced in Bitrix. We work on a whole range of different projects, and Bitrix is, like I say, all we focus on. We don't focus on any other projects other than Bitrix related ones. So please do get in touch with us if you do have any questions or queries with regards to Bitrix. Our details are on the screen. We have offices in the US. We have an office in the US, in the UK, and also in the UAE. I don't have any other questions at the moment. In fact, I had a follow-up. Somebody emailed me with a follow-up from a question just about getting data out of Bitrix using, not out of Bitrix, into Bitrix using our webhook. I think we covered this on a previous session, and we go into applications. So it's referring to the form, getting the form data submitted and into, for example, a list. So you can use a webhook. Click on webhook, click on inbound webhook, and then you can see we have an option for lists. That will then create you a unique URL, and then just Google Bitrix24 REST API, and you will be able to see In fact, let's do it for the moment. Bitrix24 REST API, and then you'll be able to find the call that you would need for a list. I think we have create list item, working with list, that's a list add, so it'll be list element, so list element add, and then this is what you would need to be able to submit to create a list item. How to change the layout of, say, the invoice template. So yes, good question. So Bitrix has a great tool to be able to create templates. So not only can you create templates in the normal areas such as invoices and quotes, but you can also create invoices to be available in, sorry, not invoices. You can also create documents to be created in leads and deals too. So you might want to create a template for proposal or for a contract, and you can generate them pulling the data from whichever element that you're in. So in here, then you go into invoices and you click into an invoice, and in document you click onto document here, and then best thing to do is click on add new template. So if this area is blank for you, then all you need to do is click on the little gear icon here and load templates from library. Now, you mentioned that you were from the UK, so if we click on the UK, then we have some predefined templates already. I would recommend starting this way, and then you can install a invoice or a quotation. Once you've installed it, I would recommend downloading it. So if we click on download, it is a Word document, okay? So if you brand up your Word document, let me just see what we've got here. I'm not sure if we've got Word that will open up on here. You can double check. But how Bitrix deals with any kind of template, whether it's an invoice template, a quote template, it is a .docx file, and once it loads, you can color it, make it header, footer, logo, and all the details on there. But what you can do is you can pull fields in from the invoice. Now you click on the little gear icon at the top, click on fields, and then what you can do is you have access to all the fields that exists inside the invoice. So invoice date, payment date, we have a subject, but we also have the fields that are connected to the invoice as well. So if you've got a contact that is associated to an invoice, you can get the symbolic code from here. So you click, highlight it, click copy, then you go to your Word document, and it's not going to load on this system, I don't think, but then you paste it into the location of your template. And then that therefore means that when you re-upload it and assign it to be available in an invoice, you come to your document, click on Invoice UK, I can use the previous number that it was generated on, and then it will generate a invoice based on your Word document template. And then it will give you a preview, and then you can download it using a PDF, or you can download it using a Word document. Alternatively, you've got your email connected up, you can click on send via email, and you can send it via email on there. So they're great because not only can you generate an invoice, you can easily create a template for an invoice and easily create one template for a quote. But as I mentioned, if you want to start generating contracts in deals, for example, then we have the same document tool here. But all we need to do is add a template that is available inside a deal. So we have people, like I said, proposals are great because you can create multi-page Word documents that populate automatically based on some of these fields inside a document, inside a deal. And contracts, we have delivery notes, POs. Bitrix doesn't have a PO system, so you can use maybe a pipeline in a deal for POs. and you can raise a PO by generating one from a document. There are a whole range of different things that you can use the documents for, but it is all done on a Word document. I recommend installing one, downloading it, taking a look, and then just navigating to that field option to be able to copy and paste one on there. So hopefully that answers the question. I'll check out the screen resolution for next session, just to make sure it doesn't blur up again. But I think that's it for this week. As I say, we're here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time, and hopefully this has helped you out. We're here usually here for an hour, just free support, 1 hour. Ask any questions that you've got. Please do get in touch with us if I've mentioned throughout the session to do so, and provide any further help for you. Either get in touch using sales@intraface.com or drop me an email to andy@intraface.com, and we can go from there. But hope you found that useful, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.